everyone, and welcome back to the final video of EssayMaster's medical school course. Congratulations on making it this far, but there are still a few small steps needed to go over, so let's get right to them. First, check your content. Some may suggest checking your writing first, but there's no point in polishing your grammar and sentence structure on an essay with poor content. So we need to focus on this first. Ask yourself, am I conveying my message well enough? Remember how you brainstormed your unique selling proposition or your theme at the very beginning? Is every essay hitting that somehow? Have I told why medicine in this message? Same idea. If your theme is helping at-risk youth with rare diseases, are you telling anecdotes and stories that support this? And finally, in your essays, are you being specific and detailed enough? The devil may be in the details, but so are the gems that make your essay worth reading. As a great way to tackle this, we recommend putting everything into a single Word, Pages, or Google Doc and reading it as one large application. We found that this allows us to better catch inconsistencies or mistakes, and you can understand the entire application package as a whole. After all, this will likely be how schools read your essays, as one single package rather than as separate files here and there. Once you've got your content down, then you can check your writing. We get asked a lot, can I use programs like Grammarly and Pro Writing Aid? The shorter answer is not for everything. The longer answer is that it's useful for immediately catching obvious mistakes, saving you a little bit of time. But in terms of thoroughness and careful analysis, it's going to be quite a bit of time before such programs replace the human eye. So feel free to go for it, but be aware that this is one spot where you'll want to be redundant, especially with human help. Use multiple programs, review your essays many times yourself, and have multiple people look at it. Check for common mistakes. Everyone knows they're possessive, there they are, their location. We also see aid with an E and without misused. We see complementary with an I and an E misused. There are many common mistakes, and if you catch yourself making the mistake once, it's likely you've made it elsewhere. So if you catch yourself making a common mistake, make a note to be on the lookout for it elsewhere. Finally, easier said than done, but don't wait until the last minute. This is doubly true if you're working a full-time job or still taking classes while applying, because fatigue has a really nasty way of making obvious errors hide. You can write tired because it's a first draft, but don't ever edit in a state of panic or fatigue. Now, as a pro tip, we recommend printing out your document and editing it with a red pen. It sounds very old school, and well, quite frankly, it is, but it's trick still used in many places because seeing words on a physical page, for whatever reason, makes the eye more alert than on a computer screen. Next, maybe it sounds obvious, but we've seen such mistakes too often not to bring it up. If your school asks for 11-point font double-spaced, make sure you format your essay that way. If it doesn't say anything, 12-point font, Times New Roman, double-spaced will typically work. Make sure your italics, quote marks, and everything else along those lines are correct. And finally, repeat all these steps at least twice. Carpenters have a saying, measure twice, cut once, because it eliminates the likelihood of error. And doing the same with your writing will greatly help you. And finally, as a pro tip, look at your document differently than you normally would. We mentioned a minute ago printing it out, but you can also blow up the font or use a different font entirely. Really, anything that gets you looking at your essay from quite literally a new perspective will help you spot mistakes. And when it's all said and done, well, ideally, you're not actually going to be done. And that's because you're best served handing this off to someone else for an objective opinion. Note that this is usually not family and friends. Your spouse or your parents, they're probably going to say that they love your essays no matter what. Your friends, though well-intentioned, probably are as uncertain as you are if your essay is good enough for your dream medical program. But a writer or an English teacher, they all will have an eye for aspects of what we've talked about here and can help you out. Keep in mind, however, there's a saying attributed to many writers. If someone tells you something's wrong, they're usually right. If someone tells you how to fix it, they're usually wrong. That's not to say you should ignore their suggestions, but you are the only person who knows how to fix your essay. They'll spot mistakes, but you can spot the fix. And finally, as mentioned before, be redundant. Ask for help from multiple people. When it comes to creation, you should be the only chef in the kitchen, but when it comes to reviews, there should be many critics in the dining room. However, there is a limit to this. At some point, you can't have so many critics that their feedback and advice will conflict. When this happens in more than a few spots in your essays, it's probably time to focus less on getting more advice and more on finding focused and good advice. And if you're still not satisfied, reach out to us for help. At EssayMaster, we're definitely happy to provide consulting and input into whatever you need help with. Look at our website, essaymaster.com, for further details. And that concludes our course on medical school essays here at EssayMaster. My name is Stephen. Thank you again for participating, and good luck with your medical school applications.